Hey everybody, it's Blake,
And this is Drew.
and you're listening to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 69 of the podcast. We've got two games and a band for you this episode, of course. But before we get into that, I want to bust through our social media internet presence. The longer the name gets, the better it is section. You can follow us, of course, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord. All these places are the normal internet stuff where you keep track of your favorite people and places and things and artists and podcasters, whatever you want to call it. That's just how you interact with us and see how things are going on the podcast. You can write into those things when we announce our games properly, like we did not for this episode. We have all that stuff there, of course. We have a Patreon, like every podcaster, I think, probably has one to some extent. That's just so you can give a little financial aid to your favorite podcasters and stuff, like helps them pay for equipment or art, like we do. Sometimes people do websites. I didn't bother doing a website. I just didn't see the point in a website. But that's what Patreon's for. You just give back a little bit to the people's stuff that you like. It's really what it's for. I have a Spotify playlist that I'll be adding to this week with the band I'm going to play. That Spotify playlist, you can just find it by searching our podcast name on, actually it might just be Two Smoking Controllers podcast playlist on Spotify. And when that comes up, you could see all the different bands and songs that I've played on the podcast all compiled into one place. While you're hearing this right now, there is a little music bed playing. If you'd like to hear you on our podcast doing a music bed or anything like that, you could submit music to us, and I'll see if I like it. If I do, I'll play here for you and give you a shout out. You can do that by each emailing me at the number 2 smokingcontrollers@gmail.com. We like to have there's got to be some musicians out there, or people just want to make music and want to hear it played on a podcast. We can do that for you. We have the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers store. It says all kinds of just merchandise with our logo slapped all over it. All kinds of good stuff there. We always say we're still waiting for somebody to buy that pair of underwear and model it for us. We want that and don't want that at the same time. It could be awful. A little cross promotion. We do another podcast. I mostly produce and speak lightly, but Blake and our buddy Jeff, co-host. Steve. Sorry, wrong brother. We know a lot of brothers. Blake and our buddy Steve. See, Jeff's been on the podcast, so we've had his brother on this podcast. Steve, co-host Action, the movie podcast, where they take turns feeding each other movies to watch back and forth. It's been a really good time. Bit of a hiatus right now while Steve moves house, because we ironically moved house, and then we got one episode in, and then now Steve moved house, so it's podcast will be coming back sooner than later, but it gives you time to catch up on all the old episodes and stuff. Blake has a published story on the Amazon Kindle. You can find it by searching They Come This Night. It pops up right away. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you already have it. It's just in your library somewhere. If you don't, it's only $1. So we appreciate any kind of support you give us through that. On the bottom here, I'm going to do our Twitch channel, because we've been doing something new with our Twitch channel. We've been having a lot of fun with it so far. We're calling it 3 Smoking Controllers co-op endeavors. We've been starting doing co-op games with our cousin Brian, and each time we stream from one of our different POVs. We start with Brian, and the next night's me, the next night's Blaze. Each night you watch this, you're seeing from a different perspective. Hopefully that kind of shakes things up a bit. We each have varying ability at video games. We're all kind of around the same level, but we are playing through Dark Souls 3 right now, and it's Brian's first time even playing through a Dark Souls game, so it's pretty interesting and funny and just an all-around, well, I'll say all-around good time. We had a night full of invaders, which was less than entertaining. You know, we have a couple of network issues, which is always kind of commonplace with the Souls series, especially when you're trying to do 3 people in the same game. So you can find that on our regular Twitch channel. That's just 2 Smoking Controllers on Twitch. You can find that and follow us there and come join us in there, come chit chat and talk about games with us while we're trying not to die in Dark Souls 3. Links to all these things, everything that I've said here, all has links to in the show notes. So if you don't feel like looking us up or typing our long name into anywhere you like listen or follow things, just click on our little link section right here in the app where you're listening to us, and click on those and give us a follow and a like, and well, not a like, I guess, like maybe like's the wrong thing, but just follow us and keep track of what we're doing and join in on the conversation here sometime. We talk about interesting games. I feel like we stick to more obscure games more often than not. I think I covered everything. Hope I did.
I believe so.
I might have missed something. Who knows? There's a lot of things to cover in there for some reason. With that said, I'm going to pass the reins over to Blake as he's going to tell you a little bit about the company for the first game that we're going to talk about tonight.
So the first game we'll be talking about is called OMNO. It originally came out, I think it's not even a year old yet. Came out July 29th, 2021. And it came out on everything. It's available on everything but Switch, and he's working on the port for that now.
So you say he's a one developer?
It is a single developer.
That's getting more common these days.
Jonas Mank. His studio is called Studio Inky Fox. And it is based out of Germany, and this is his debut game. So, it was
That explains a solo developer kind of explains some of my issues with this game.
Yeah. So this is his first doing everything. His primary thing is a 3D animator.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to this, his job was he was freelance animation in other smaller games where he was just kind of like, it was literally just additional support was his title. He did get a lot of his work in mostly German CGI or 3D animated children's movies. They were all German, as far as I could tell.
He obviously didn't know any of them.
Mm-mm. Which is still, it's still pretty cool. He got, animation for character animation, and he got his footing. His major animation when it comes to gaming wise, the first one, the only one besides this, as far as I could tell, besides additional support, where he had a title, was in State of Decay 1 and 2. He was animation coordinator, something like that. So that's pretty good. And then he did it's a big jump to just be animator to do everything.
Yeah.
Well, okay, everything except for music, which seems to be kind of popular. Not everyone can do everything.
Yeah, you kind of outsource music a lot of the time.
Yeah. So his musician is a gentleman named Benedict Nichols, and he is an award-winning indie music developer. Some of his credits go to The Falconer, which I think's on Game Pass, or was on Game Pass.
It was on Game Pass. I don't know if we didn't play it. I don't know if it left yet though.
And then there is Before They Leave, Dead Frontier 2, And his newest game, which I think might be one of the biggest ones he's worked on, is called Dread Hunger. And that might already be out, or it's coming out soon. Its date said 2022, and I saw some people had like, ooh, I'm playing through it again, so I'm not sure if it's only on Steam right now or whatever, because I couldn't. It just said
I haven't heard of it.
I watched a trailer for it. It looked kind of cool. It was it's a period piece, like I guess colonial times maybe, or the early 1800s, and it's some folk taking a boat through the Antarctic, and all the trials and tribulations that happened there. Apparently, you take control of one of 8 people, and I think you can pick which character you play as, and then you just try to survive. You fend off wolves, madness, and your own cannibalism. It seemed kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it on them, because like I said, it was just really one person for music and another for the entire game. The game itself, what do you call that? It's like,
this is a 3D platformer.
Well, I was gonna say like graphically, I'd call that like fantastical minimalism.
Yeah. The character, he's kind of minimalist.
Even some of the creatures are like, they're a fantastical shape, but then they're just kind of like real smooth. And
yeah, it kind of reminded me of what's that Souls like we played?
Ashen.
It kind of looked like Ashen a little bit. I thought it was kind of a little bit like Ashen.
I think Ashen was a little more detailed, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I say detailed. It's detailed and darker, while this was brighter and more. Instead of like paying a lot of attention to detail, he's like, "Ooh, here's a bunch of these weird creatures. Let me just vibrantly color them and make them stand out, and put them in weird shapes." And
yeah, a bunch of strange creatures. Because you're collecting information on these creatures. There's like what, 50 of them or something.
it's like 41.
41 creatures as you're playing it through.
We said it was a third-person action adventure. I don't want to say action. It's more of an adventure puzzler.
Yeah.
100% adventure puzzler.
There's no combat or anything.
No, you have like a strike button for certain things, but that's not.
It's just like bonking on them to get little magic orbs out of them.
Yeah.
Just bonk on the creatures, and this magic stuff comes out, which I thought was a tad tedious, because you have to gather a lot of that to activate those obelisks.
I felt that was a little needless. In all honesty,
Or cut the amount you need in half to kind of expedite how long it takes.
True. So this is a non-verbal story.
Yes.
And
Well, there's words.
okay, well, yeah. Well, it's non-verbal. You're reading.
You're reading the words.
Like hieroglyphics.
Your guy doesn't talk. The hieroglyphics put like English subtitles across the bottom of the screen when you're reading these little hieroglyphics. And it seemed like, as far as I got, good a time as any to say, I did not complete this game for some reasons I'll talk about soon. But was it the dude recounting his own journey, like your character?
Well, from what I could tell, it's the first people who made the journey.
Okay.
And that you're on a world that can't support that I guess you can't support human life anymore, which is strange considering how many creatures there were. There should be some source of
something
of food and sustenance.
There's creatures everywhere.
But from what I could tell, you're one of the last, if not the last, beings on the planet, humanoids anyway. And you're this pilgrimage to make it to the gate to go to a new world, to leave.
Yes. Is there any? There's no. I guess you read all the obelisks.
I read everything, and it was really about the journey. I couldn't. It's like, ooh, the Lightbringers open the gate to bring forth the new world, so that we can all go beyond the stars and be somewhere new. But
more just lore than anything. It wasn't about your particular character.
And playing through the world, nothing. None of the animals were trying to kill you. There wasn't like poisonous miasma. Admittedly, parts of the world looked like it was falling apart.
Yeah,
but
it didn't seem like generally it wasn't a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah, because you look at a game we've talked about before, Haven. Like, it was literally a shattered planet that was still sustaining life and water, and those people didn't want to leave, but these folk do. I'm not entirely sure.
Comparing two different sets of lore.
Yeah, but I mean, just like it's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whatever, bah humbug.
If the place, if everybody's running away and there's no humans alive, the place should look more desolate, maybe.
I would think. Well, I didn't come across any civilization, so that might be a thing. Very rarely, all the civilization I saw was decrepit and crumbling. So that may be why civilization fell. But man, or because humans are horrible, and Earth always takes it back.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that. I ended up quitting this because of really excessively bad platforming, and I have a very low tolerance for that. I don't even like platforming in general when it comes to video games, and I hate it even more when it's really bad platforming. Now, this makes more sense knowing it's a single developer. He probably didn't have time to play test every single jump, or maybe this is exactly how he wanted the game to play. I'm not sure, but the jumping is so floaty and unresponsive in the way the dude occasionally decides to grab a ledge and occasionally decides not to grab a ledge, and then the control you have when you're in the air and knowing where you're going to land. A lot of factors here lead to some really, really bad platforming. Blake says it gets better after the section that I quit. Like, it's nowhere near as difficult after the section that I ended up quitting, but I just don't see myself going back to this in the time frame that I have, because this game leaves. This is a Game Pass game. We're not a Game Pass podcast. But this game leaves Game Pass in like a week, and I've got other stuff that I'm playing that's more important to me than this. So I just don't see myself going back to it to try again. I was, in the amount of frustration I had just attempting some of these ridiculous jumping sequences. I had one jump sequence that I tried 25 or 30 times, and I was like, "This is the end of my playthrough, right here." And I got past that one. That's a jump sequence that really took Blake, like you said, 3 or 4 tries probably.
Yeah, it didn't take me long.
Yeah, that was trying to jump. You have this dash, and a jump dash, and the timing never seemed to be the same timing you need every time. And sometimes he would land on top of the platform. Sometimes he would grab onto the side of it. Sometimes he would grab the side and then let go. And then one time, miraculously, I jumped and dashed, and he dashed completely over the platform one time. Because the dash isn't that long, and how did he do that? I don't know. It was very inconsistent. It drove me mad, and I didn't want to play it no more, so I quit and installed it because I really just don't play games to get mad at them, and then this game was supposed to be simple and fun, and it was really just driving me crazy. So I kind of don't regret turning it off, but I hate not getting a 1K in something that's supposedly easy and only a couple hours long. But
because I beat the game in 4.5 hours and got the 1K.
Yeah.
So you could be able to do it, but I can understand being annoyed, because I got annoyed at it a few times because it's not great, but the reason it does get easier is because the game's broken up into roughly about 5 chapters. Each chapter has 2 sections, except for the final one, which has 3, and they increase, but they're much smaller than the other ones. So that's kind of how they justified it, I guess. But as each chapter you get into, you gain a new traversal ability, and your first one was the jumping. Well, jumping in general, is you kind of get that from the get-go. But your next ability you get is the air dash, the ground dash, which was, they're like, oh, let's use it a whole bunch because it's the only thing you have. And admittedly, it was hands down the most annoying part in the game. Now, I had some other ones that did require me to do the jump dashing stuff, but it was nowhere near as time specific or like area specific, like that weird puzzle. It's the only time I ever encountered that puzzle too.
Yeah, the pillars were lifting up.
Yeah, it was just not a good puzzle, or like something like late game, not right as you get an ability.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered because of how it was set up.
I managed to get through it, but it was annoying because you get the jump, of course, you get dash, and then you get a surf, which kind of let you fly around the area and pick up speed to really get jumps, which made them not too terribly difficult. And then you get a floating aspect where you jump up and you hold your staff up, and it lets you glide to areas and catch updrafts, jet streams or whatever. And then there was a teleportation, which as long as you could see the icon, you just hit it and you warp there. There was no chance of missing that.
Okay.
The problem is sometimes, which happened to me, which probably one of the most annoying things was the end of chapter 4 leading into chapter 5. I almost gave up because I couldn't figure this out, and I ended up watching a video. It's like, oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Actually, I realized I was doing the puzzle completely wrong, which was fantastic. To find out that I had spent 30 minutes doing a puzzle wrong, because it had me hit a switch, and then I had to teleport and run through these 4 rings. I never saw the first teleport and first ring because it appeared. It was just weird timing. Like, it appears instantly, and I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at where I thought the first one was, and it was user error. And then watched the video, and I managed to get it on my second try once I figured out what to actually do. But it didn't annoy me. But the game's pretty. The music was good. Like, and it's got rave reviews. A lot of people really enjoy it.
Yeah, I did look at reviews.
It's got some pretty high reviews. Matter of fact, it's got, what is it, 9 out of 10 on Steam, 76 on Metacritic, and a 7 out of 10 on Nintendo Life. Like, it's gotten really well.
It's really high for this game. I think it was okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just so simple and simplistic and easy. And
It doesn't make a game good, though.
I think what happening is a lot of people are, which I can understand why a lot of people are drawing comparisons to Journey.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything like Journey.
I think Journey is easier. It had way less platforming. But actually, not really. There's a lot of platforming in Journey, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people they're just drawing comparisons to that and other, like, quote unquote walking simulators. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be mean, but I don't really find anything special about anything special about the way it looked or the way it played or the little bits of story you're getting. I don't really find anything too special about this game, not to warrant ratings like that.
no. But I mean, if a game is what it is, then it is what it is, the best of its ability. If that makes any sense. It wasn't trying to do anything new. It was trying to just be a fun little. I think, I don't know, people are putting more. Also, it might be getting higher because people really want to support indie developers and stuff a lot nowadays, and they're trying to. Plus, you're like, oh, one dude did this, one guy. That's kind of cool too.
Yeah, I think it's cool, but it keeps on happening.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening. So it's getting more and more common now. It's become less and less interesting that people figure out they can develop a game all on their own.
I don't know how long the cycle was, but I do know the game was kickstarted. It had about 3,400 backers, which is quite a bit, raising a little over $100,000.
Dang.
Yeah, and some of the tiers were like, oh, you got like exclusive content to your person where you could you got different skins for your character. You could then customize your character. You helped create some of the monsters in game. And at one point there is a lot of these Kickstarter indie games have that, where there's a wall of mentions where you clicked on it and you're like, oh, thank you for all the ones who came before. And it was a little list of like people's gamer tags and stuff, just
later in the game.
Mm-hmm. Is in the last chapter before you take on the last challenge, and you could skip it entirely, but because it's just this big monument out in the distance that.
Yeah, if anybody's, this is not sort of related. If anybody ends up buying the game Sea of Stars, me and Blake gave to the Kickstarter under the podcast name to Sea of Stars, and somewhere in Sea of Stars is a monolith with our name on it somewhere in that game.
And that the one that we customized with the warrior and the mage?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
We'll find it somewhere in the game, yeah.
I'll take a picture of it. I'll be super excited about that.
Yeah, we're somewhere in that. It's cool. I mean, not a whole lot to say about this. I mean, I didn't play it all the way through. Do you have more to say or a favorite?
I don't want to
part.
My favorite part was like the ending. I thought it was kind of funny. Where you go with this. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who might play it though. But I thought the ending was pretty entertaining. And throughout the whole game, you have a little animal companion, this green little cat with a horn that flies around. I think it's a cat. I don't know. It's real round, and you can interact with it and pet it.
How do you even get to that? How do you even get to that thing?
Yeah, it's like I said. I beat the whole game in 4.5 hours, and you go through a couple different biomes. You go through like a jungle, a swamp, a forest, a desert, winter wonderland, and you know, and varying stages of each. Because like I said, each chapter has 2 sections, and you're kind of transitioning from one biome to another, and that's that journey, and so on and so forth. But I guess I don't really have a lot more to add than if you like supporting the indie developers. Wow.
Yeah, this game is $18.99 normally.
Woo. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot for that game. I feel like we always say these shorter games. I mean, $10 or less seems to be more of the range. This game will go on sale at some point. It's on Game Pass until the end of the month. I mean, by the time you hear this podcast, you'll have. Actually, by the time you hear this podcast, it'll be off probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't. I didn't beat it, so of course I wouldn't pay anything for it. If this comes back around on Game Pass, I don't know. Maybe Blake can convince me to give it another try. I don't know. I hate leaving a incomplete easy game on my little gamer tag stuff, but sometimes you just gotta let a game go. But maybe if it comes back to Game Pass, I'll give it another shot. I'm never gonna buy this game.
You have to endure those scars.
Yeah, the scars. That's what they call them in the achievement hunting community. It's a scar on your profile if you don't get through it. Well, I guess that's it for that game. I didn't find anything to truly love about it, but
Which is fair.
A lot of other people seem to be really into it. We can move on to the second game of our podcast. A much more famous game. People have dedicated whole podcast to this game. It's a game I played a long time ago, and a game I played again recently, and a game that's kind of burned me for coming back to it, which I'll get into as soon as you talk about it. But this is a relatively famous game that has a incoming sequel at some point.
The second game we'll be talking about today is called Oxenfree. Oxenfree is developed. Oxenfree originally came out January 15th, 2016. It has since been released on everything. It is developed by Night School Studios. They came into existence June 6th, 2014. They've been around, what was that, 8 years, I think? If that math is right. And they have made 4 games at the time of I did my research. I think they're working on a 5th game now, which is the sequel to this. They have a pretty cool little history I'll get into here in just a second. So the first game is Oxenfree, was their debut game, and then they went on to make an iOS game called Mr. Robot, which was a text-based adventure similar to that of, not similar, I think, how do I explain this? Alright, so Mr. Robot was, their Mr. Robot game was published by Telltale, who had reached out to them to make a side-along game because they were going to do a version of Mr. Robot, but then that company...
The TV show?
Yeah, but then their company fell apart.
Yeah.
And so they completed this and was like, well, we're going to put it out because we're not wasting time and money. And that's kind of what happened with that. And then after that, they went on to do After Party. And then they did another iOS mobile phone called Next Stop Nowhere, which I don't know anything about that, really. It seems to just be... Well, it's a mobile game. I didn't really...
It seems strange to go from a console game down to mobile games.
maybe they just got to get their funding back, I guess. I'm not entirely...
Oxenfree was really successful, though.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying something new, because I don't know anything about Next Stop. And then later this year, it says 2022, is Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals.
Yes.
And I don't have a date for that. I couldn't find one, so...
I don't think it's dated yet.
I'm sure it'd be November, right before Christmas or something.
With the announcement of Lost Signals, I know real quick that they recently, a few months ago, they did I wish I had beat the game all the way beforehand, but they had patched Oxenfree 1 with supposedly some more hints into Oxenfree 2, which I never saw any. I think I didn't get far enough because Oxenfree has 3 endings, and I had 2 of the endings. And I was about to do the 3rd ending for the podcast, and whatever they patched in screwed my game up, and my game locks up now.
Have you tried again lately?
I've been waiting to watch for another patch to come through. But as of right now, I tried multiple times, and my game locks up. I even restarted, ran to the same section again, and my game locks up in the same place. So now I don't have the 3rd, so I don't have the 1K in this for a game that I've played. Now, they've been thinking it's 15 hours, which it's because what happened is I originally played the game when it came out and got the regular being nice ending. There's a nice ending, a mean ending, and then like a neutral ending. It should be pretty fast because the endings go quicker and quicker as you run through. But it had been so long since I played, and Blake had finally played it for the first time. And for the podcast, I decided I needed to replay through the regular ending again. So I replayed through the nice ending again, and then I played through the mean ending. And now I was doing my neutral ending, and they patched the game and screwed my game up. I've played a game
almost 4 times.
I'm not getting the 1K because they patched in some stuff that I didn't even see. And now I can't get my final ending to get the 1K for a game that I started 5 or 6 years ago.
That sucks butt.
Yeah, you got all of them because you got it all done before. You kind of did it somewhat back to back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then got it all done before there was even a weird patch that breaks stuff.
Yeah, I did this at least a year or so ago too. I did it a while ago.
Been a while? It's been that long already?
Because we were living at the old apartment.
Yeah. Been a while. Did you see in your notes that I'm pretty sure Night School Studio was recently acquired by Netflix?
Well, actually, I was going to get into that once we kind of talked about it a little bit, because there's a whole thing with Night School Studio being acquired and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's right, a little tangent there of why I don't have all the endings. It was tied to the sequel. You mentioned the sequel, so I mentioned things.
Yeah.
I think it kept things in sequence.
It says that they co-developed a text adventure mode for the Mr. Robot game for iOS with Telltale, but then that whole shenanigan happened. Because they were actually both, it's funny, both these guys... Okay. Because the 2 founders for Night School Studios is a gentleman named Sean Krankel and his cousin Adam Hines. Now, Sean actually worked for Telltale, and Sean worked for Disney Interactive Studios. Mm-hmm. And then Telltale shut down and all that stuff, and he created this as a side project, and then that whole shenanigan happened. And then, but Oxenfree started getting a lot of, I guess, play. Like, somehow it got a lot of attention. And then, literally right after the first trailer came out.
Well, didn't Oxenfree come out pretty close to Stranger Things?
Yes, it did.
And it has the Stranger Things vibe to it. I think that helped it a little bit because it came out pretty close to Stranger Things, like season 1. And everybody's kind of like it's kind of like a Stranger Things game, a little bit.
Because it literally came out within the same year,
mm-hmm.
at the same time that Telltale was talking about acquiring the rights to Stranger Things, and then they fell apart.
Yeah.
That's literally what happened. But it came out and had such a kind of, I guess, a big, like, oh, that was a pretty good splash ripple, that a week after it came out, Skybound Entertainment had announced that they were going to partner with Night School Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And Skybound is, for those who don't know who Skybound, that's Robert Kirkman.
Mm-hmm.
It's his, like, entertainment division that's attached to Image Comics, but he runs Skybound. He has a lot of say in everything.
If you know who Robert Kirkman is, he's the creator of The Walking Dead.
And Invincible.
One of the biggest TV shows in history now. He created the comic book, and then recently Amazon did the Invincible TV show, which I don't think is that good, but he's the creator of the Invincible comic as well. Skybound is his company.
Because you have all that going on, and then you had them working with Telltale, and then Telltale falling apart, and then just recently, like Drew said earlier, just recently in September 2021, so not even a full year ago yet, Netflix acquired them.
Yeah,
but said,
strange thing, a company like Netflix acquiring a game developer. But there have been rumors of Netflix doing a gaming side of their company.
Well, not only that is part of the acquisition was they were going to make a live action either miniseries or movie for Oxenfree.
Yes,
depending on. But they were allowed to. They're like, hey, we don't want to affect anything. Y'all do you. We just kind of want to own y'all.
It's a weird way to put it.
Yeah, because they said they literally they bought them in the middle of them making. Because they even talked about they went through with it, and Netflix didn't bother them at all. They're just like, hey,
for Oxenfree 2 or for the other game you haven't mentioned yet.
What other game?
Night School did After Party.
I did mention After Party, didn't I?
Did you? I don't think you did yet. You ain't got there yet.
Well, I thought it did because
you might have, and I just missed it. But they did After Party.
They did After Party after they did the Mr. Robot, and then did that weird iOS game, and then this. Because Netflix's intention is to do, again, they just say a live action version, whether it's a movie or a TV show. It hasn't been decided yet, but they want to do Oxenfree as well as After Party, because After Party got some praise as well. Not as much as Oxenfree, but it did get praise.
We got After Party on Games with Gold, I think. So we kind of own After Party. We just haven't played it yet.
And then we have Oxenfree 2, and if that's remotely successful, which I'm sure it should be.
It should be. Will it be? You
can never
how the industry works. People could just not care at all.
And so, if everything goes according, then Netflix has at least 3 film deals.
Possibly, if they can get out of the rut they're in.
Yeah, they're having their own situation, but we'll see how that goes.
Their Resident Evil just came out to vitriol, basically.
Oh yeah.
I saw like half of a trailer and it looked really bad, and then people were saying it's like worse than bad. Well, like I couldn't believe how you put something out so bad.
Okay. Small side tangent, and then we'll get back into the game. But the thing that one of the funnier things I saw was one of those. It's a meme, and it's like someone's like stroking the wall and crying. It's like, I've judged you too harshly, little one, and it said post Netflix's Resident Evil, and it was a wall of the Mila Jovovich Resident Evil. It goes like, oh, I judged you too harshly, dear one, and then it looks behind him, and it's like just fire and burning of the new ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's bad. I mean, it's weird how successful the Resident Evil franchise games are, and like they keep doing better and better. Like Village is like high selling and everything's great, and there's remakes and new patches and new games, and it's doing so great. That's one side of this franchise, and the other side is they put out this awful movie that everybody hated. We haven't watched it yet. The Return to Raccoon. What's it called? Return to Raccoon City. That live action movie they put out that everybody hates.
But that had nothing to do with Netflix.
No, that's separate. It's ironic. I'm saying it's funny because there's a whole different separate from Netflix was the whole movie that came out like last year.
Yeah.
Or earlier this year. I don't remember when it came out.
I think it was last.
We didn't go see it, but it was panned. And then right off those coattails, we're like, okay, well, if that movie sucked, surely Netflix is going to make a good TV show that respects the source material and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, nope. Not at all. Like, didn't even play the video games, people. Like, it's just, like, so weird that the games could be doing so well and all other media attached to that could just be doing so bad.
Well, because when you think about, like, the games and stuff, it's strictly this isn't the Resident Evil podcast, but when you think about it, like, the whole, like, those games are just, like, they're puzzle and walking around a lot of times by yourself very slowly.
Yeah.
You know? And so they're trying to, like, oh, let's bump up the action, and like they just change the whole thing because it's not an atmospheric slow burn. and so we got to go to keep people's attention because you can't. It's hard to make a slow burn.
I guess I'm surprised they haven't tried to just do do the do Biohazard or do Village while the games are hot. But you know, the movie industry and TV shows, they're always so behind on what's happening.
They never have their finger on the pulse.
Yeah. Anyway, not the Resident Evil podcast, but all related to Netflix and other various gaming things that we know are happening and are kind of funny.
So let's get back
to night school.
You know, they have their whole history ending with they just got bought by Netflix, less than a year ago, and they're about to put out Oxenfree 2, and so fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna dive into the game now, Oxenfree.
Yeah, Oxenfree is sort of I mean, you have control of your character, but it is kind of more of a point and click kind of thing. But you don't.
Graphic adventure.
I guess maybe a graphic adventure because you're not pointing and clicking, but you are walking from here, click like with Xbox's A button. You just walk over to this item, interact with this item, or interact with this person, and you have a dialogue trees, kind of like every game that has dialogue trees.
You have one of the core mechanics, which is the radio frequency dial.
Yeah, the frequency thing, which is used all throughout a lot of the game, and I think is where they added in some of the stuff from that patch that broke the game is in the radio.
I think because if you find the signal, but if you go outside the range, I think it's like you pick up outside signals that are beaming in extra information.
Or lost signals, as it would be for Oxenfree 2. This game has been praised a lot for its writing and the voice cast. I think they're pretty good. Something I don't like about the way the game flows is it kind of contradicts itself. Because when somebody's talking and your choices pop up, if you make one of your choices, you literally interrupt the person talking, so you cannot hear the rest of what they're going to say. But if you listen to what they say, then your choices fade away, and you can't make your proper choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't understand. So to me, when I play the whole game, it's a constant barrage of me interrupting everybody, and I was like, "This is annoying. Like I can't hear what everybody has to say all the way through because you're constantly interrupting people if you want to make your choices. And if you're doing a certain playthrough, trying to be nice or mean, then you've got to be making all your choices at the right time to make sure the right events happen in the way you need them to happen." The third playthrough is a no, like it's a weird neutral no talking playthrough, and the people somewhat address that you're not saying anything, but it doesn't really seem to matter that you're not saying anything. I'm not sure how much impact your character actually has on what's going on, since the game can play through entirely without you really saying anything.
Yeah, because one of the dialogue thing that people both praise and like showed disdain for, I don't know, maybe disdain's too strong a word, but they wanted to have realistic conversations. People interrupt people during conversations, and it felt more real, but it also
not constantly.
Yeah, I know, but
not constantly.
But see, because people do that. Oh, I'm sorry, you finished, but there's none of that. There's just a bunch of bulldozing teen personalities that just kind of would talk over one another.
Yeah,
because what it is I guess it's. I don't think it's your senior year. I think your characters are like 16 or something. Yeah. And you're following your core group of these teens, which are Alex, Ren, Jonas, Clarissa, and Nona. Mm-hmm. And then Alex's now stepbrother, Michael. No. Her stepbrother is Jonas. And then there's some flashbacks with her actual brother, Michael.
Yeah, who died.
Which, yeah. And you're just kind of like going on a high school hijinks. It's supposed to be this huge party that happens every year on this fictional island called Edwards Island. Mm-hmm. And then no one shows up but you guys. And it's super weird and kind of super strange.
You kind of just walking around and exploring parts of the island, and then what really kicks it off is the radio thing, and you get to the cave with the radio, and you start talking to this mysterious thing that only seems to talk through you've probably seen it in horror movies where something like talks to a radio, but like only uses the radio recording, so the different words or different voices as it tries to put together what it's trying to say. It's actually kind of neat and kind of creepy. This game does have moments that are like, at least on the first playthrough, it has moments that can be genuinely creepy, even for a game that doesn't have like realistic graphics, like to pull off scares. Like it actually manages to be creepy, which I think is kind of entertaining. But it kind of after your first playthrough, you've kind of seen it, so it's kind of as you play through again to do the other endings, you're not really creeped out anymore because you've already kind of seen it happen. We really say what the game. We always forget to kind of say what the game kind of looks like. I think it has more of a Tim Burton kind of or Tim Burton Psychonauts kind of look to it.
I would say Psychonauts over Tim Burton.
More Psychonauts.
Definitely like a more Psychonauts meets Leica.
A little bit, yeah.
But instead of they were claymation, they're 2D.
Yeah, you do more or less only move on a. It's like a 2D plane, but you can kind of move into the background. You can move back and forth, like when you're climbing the mountains, whatever. You can kind of walk into the background, and you kind of just move across the back, and you come back forward again. But you are only moving. Everything's only on a 2D plane. You got 2D characters, but yeah, I think that mix of Psychonauts and Leica. I mean, we've mentioned Leica on the podcast before, but if you look up Leica as a movie company, they did Paranorman, Coraline, Box Trolls, stuff like that. They generally have kind of a look to their movies. This kind of looks like that. It'd be really cool to see them do an Oxenfree movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it looks like, and for something like that, kind of graphics to kind of pull off scares is kind of done in the voice acting and some other artistic things that are done and moments that are done to kind of make it genuinely kind of creepy sometimes. I'd be interested to see how if they can pull off this vibe in a live action movie way.
Because as we get into the cave, it's a known thing that everyone in this town, I guess this is kind of like the folklore for the area. There's this cave that if you go in there with a radio and you toggle the frequencies, and they're, what do you call them? Cairns? The pile of rocks, and they're called cairns.
Yeah, I don't know if they say that in the game. We've seen that. No, we saw that in the guide. The guide calls them. That's what they are. That's what they are. I don't know if the game mentions it, but in the guide he calls them Cairns.
Yeah, they're cairns.
Cairns. It's just a pile of rock. Like usually,
it's like a burial pile of rocks.
A burial pile of rocks. Yeah, it has a name. But yeah, there's these 3 piles of rocks outside the cave. Yeah.
And so each one of those, as you go to it, you start at the mouth of the cave and you slowly go further in, and then each cairn, you hit a particular signal, and it's like, wow, it makes these weird noises, and you possibly hear voices from beyond. And then as she goes further in, showing off to her new stepbro Jonas, who's like, you guys are a bunch of weirdos, but
he runs off in the cave first.
Oh, yeah. That is true. It's been a minute since I played. And basically, he sees something. He thinks he sees the spirit or ghost of his dead mom. And that's kind of what pulls him in. And then you go into it after the signals have been all weird. And get super weird because they've never gotten this blatant to where it like distinctly said words, and like eerie green light came out of the mouth of the cave, and that's where, in the green light is where Jonas thinks he sees his mother's silhouette,
something like that. I don't know if he sees a silhouette or he just hears words he thinks is her. There's a music thing for later that he plays music. The thing plays music, and it's a song that she.
Oh, it's like I think it's her the singing of the song from when he was like a baby or something.
So I'm going to play-by-play this, but this is kind of where the game kind of kicks off and things get weird. This is where everybody gets separated. Like, you're in this cave, and then like there's like this flash, and then some weird flashes of scenes, and then y'all appear someplace completely different. You and Jonas do. What's her name?
Her name's Alex.
Alex and Jonas appear somebody else, and then everybody else is all splitter. So what proceeds to the rest of the game is... this part of the game is going and gathering up your other friends, figuring out where your friends ended up, and you're coming across other strange events and different things. And this is where you start seeing the time loops. Time loops are very important. This whole game is about a time loop. Spoilers. We should have said spoilers when we talked about this game.
Yeah, probably.
Everybody should have played Oxenfree by now. The whole game is about time loops, kind of even to the point to where when you do another playthrough, like things change. We'll talk about that in a minute. You get to some really cool. Like it seems like only Alex can perceive the time loops for a little bit until later in the game they kind of get a handle on it.
Oh yeah.
They kind of she handles it really well. Where she realizes she's just like stuck in the like mystic time loops. Like she doesn't really seem to freak out. I mean, I guess you get kind of a bit of control over her dialogue, but she seems to generally just kind of. I don't know. I feel like sometimes in video games people don't react to things. I mean, I know it's a video game. People just don't react to things the way they should. Like when we talked about Last Stop, when everybody just kind of like accepts there's aliens. Nobody freaks out.
Yeah.
It's so strange. But in this, she just kind of like rolls. Like, oh, man, I'm in a time loop. This sucks. And then you move on to the next one. She's like, oh, I'm in another time loop. This sucks.
Yeah.
She kind of just rolls with the weird events.
Well, what can she do?
Well, they also don't freak out when they're in the cave and then they appear on the other side of the island. When they both wake up on the other side of the island, they're like, oh, this is weird.
They're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then you go to the center of the island, and then you try to gather the allies. It is strange. Like I would freak out.
I think normal people would freak out. I just don't think maybe people freaking out isn't good for writing or something. Maybe it's not good to have.
You got to have a strong character to help problem solve and stuff.
If everybody reacted normally like they should, this whole game would be everybody just standing around freaking out
or killing one another because mankind's horrible.
Freaking out and killing one another. So you're trying to gather the friends up and move on. Like I don't want to go too much into this because I've heard a whole other podcast about Oxenfree, and if you could talk about it kind of forever in a way. But you do experience a pretty cool thing that's, I guess it's kind of cool and kind of, I don't get really how interesting it technically is. This is the reflection thing that happens throughout the game multiple times.
I think it's like three or four times.
I think it's 3 times. People talk about the reflection thing like it's like the coolest thing ever. I'm just like, I don't know. It's kind of like a weird, loose online element
where you're super passive online
very passive online thing where the person you're talking to in the mirror is just another player. I don't think they're even actively online they're not because I saw it in mine because it'll put their name, their gamer tag above their head. I think in some sequences, and I had you, and I knew you weren't actively online playing. I think you were just a more recent player on my friends list.
I think that's what it does. It's just whoever the most recent person on your friends list to have played the game made the decision.
Yeah, so you're kind of talking. I'm just talking to a person, and really, what you're doing when you're playing it, you're just really just two people saying random stuff to each other. I mean, is the end result? Like yeah. I would talk to the reflection, and whatever choices you would pick, I just kind of responded to the choices you picked. It doesn't really mean anything.
Well, what it's doing is at those key moments, you're trying to offer advice, though you're trying to be vague. One's like, be nice to Jonas, or like I think one of them because your choices were like,
tell Michael to leave, or like,
yeah, you had they're vague that don't make any sense unless you've played the game.
So what it is because of the time loop aspect, you're just your other person, your other players like you or me or whatever, are just other Alexes at different points in the time loop. So it's just a kind of interesting reference, I guess, to the aspect of the time loop of the game. And that's how they present it. It's like kind of it's a sneaky kind of subtle way to put other people into the game, but you don't have to really. It's not important that they're in there. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just adding layers upon layers to things for the looping aspect.
Yes. Sorry, I'm doing a bit of research for the Oxenfree 2.
Oh, really? Still.
Yeah.
So these are you're finding your friends, and your friends are getting possessed. The possessed scenes are kind of creepy.
They are pretty creepy.
Yeah, they're possessed by the spirit thingy bobbers of the island, which you kind of learn. You learn bits and pieces about them by reading. Is it reading things or like radio things around the island?
It's a bit of everything.
Yeah, you kind of get a bunch of just various points of information to kind of explain. And the ghost things do talk to you and kind of tell you who they are a little bit.
Because the Edwards Island is it's a tourist trap. You find out real early on that it's also an ex-military base, or it was a Navy base rather, and so you have all these kind of little abandoned areas you're not supposed to go to, and then you have just tidbits around the island for it being its tourist trap, and it's like, oh, if you click this, oh, welcome to Edward Island. This used to be the home of the whatever Navy base back and so whatever, but then it was decommissioned, and now it's the home of these. It's just kind of like you get all this what you think is useless information, but then as you progress through, you realize how you're like, oh, that's a lie. But then you find the truth, and you realize that's a lie, but that information is actually incredibly important. But it's slightly, it's a tinge shade of a lie. Because why would the military be honest with us and all that stuff? Because it's whatever.
We won't spoil
Where it goes to,
where the ghosts are coming from and why they're there, but I don't know. When I played it originally, I was kind of impressed by it. But then, also when I played it originally, I had no interest in going back to the other two endings, so I never did it back in the day. So I come back to it, and I kind of knew knew the whole game and kind of what it's about. So playing it a second time and a third time, I wasn't as impressed by the whole experience, and found the kind of the dialogue stuff to be annoying, and stuff like that. And just the kind of, I don't know, I just wasn't as impressed by the overall experience. I wonder if this game was bigger at its time. That's why we talk about will Oxenfree 2 has much of an impact as the first one. It's kind of been there, done that. I feel like a little bit, unless they do something really weird with Oxenfree 2, I just don't see it popping off as much.
All I know, they still don't have a date for it.
Yeah.
But all I know is it takes place 5 years after, and a different character in a different town.
Okay, because slight spoilers, it almost can't take place with the original cast. Because of how this game ends, and how even when you replay this game, you're kind of just starting a new loop. So I feel like, I say they're not spoiling it, but you're somewhat trapped on the island anyway. So I feel like Oxenfree 2 would have to be a whole different cast of characters.
Yeah. Because one of the, all the frequencies, and one of the key things in the game is, in fact, its music and sound design.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. It's good and jarring, very...
Atmosphere is key for the whole game.
I will say some of the cues, and don't play this game if you're epileptic. There's some jarring flashing lights and droning I don't know how to even describe the noise. The droning is just super, below everything. It gets gradually louder, and it's just, some of the experience can be very jarring.
Mm-hmm.
Which also leads to this is really cool. You get Turtle Beach on, your headphones on, you're playing through the game. It's really cool. But I kind of briefly I brought it up because I wanted to talk about their composer briefly.
Yeah.
A gentleman named Andrew Rohrman, Rohrmann, who is a DJ named Scientific American, but was forced to change his name to, it's still Scientific, but it's spelled SCNTFC. And so he mostly does dance music, EDM, hip hop, trip hop, and space rock and stuff like that. But he's worked on a couple of games since 2001 to now. He's kind of just poked in and done some things, as well as his own albums. He was responsible for, oddly enough, one of his earliest things in 2000, because he did music in 2001, 2002, and then helped some other albums. But then in 2011, his first big, I can't even think of the word, his first big breakthrough, I guess, is the Xbox 360 startup noise.
He's the creator of that?
The sound design and software for the 360 system software and the startup noise. He's responsible for that.
That's awesome. I guess somebody had to write
it. He created that. And then he's been in a couple of other games from there. Mostly, what is it? The Zombies of Mass Destruction, Peggle. The Peggle games. He does the game for those, as well as this Galaxy, the old 17-bit, what do you call it? Twin stick shooter. You're talking about you're the spaceship and you have to like shoot the stuff. It's an old game. You have any idea what I'm talking about?
No. Asteroids?
Kinda, but it's called Gallic Z, and they've been around. Anyway, I think it's like a spoof on those old games. Anyway, whatever. I feel stupid. But for Night School Studios, he's done the music for all their games. All of them. And one game actually we actually did on the podcast that you felt was not good at all was the Old Man's Journey. He did the music for that.
Old Man's Journey just locks up. Old Man's Journey is known for one thing, and that's when you turn it on, it asks for a ridiculous amount of access to your account, which it's got talked about for that. And then when you play it, it's almost interesting, but the game locks up on Xbox. Like I couldn't get past it, so I never bothered going back to it. I feel like that's a game I bought too. Maybe it's somewhat really cheap,
Or super cheap, yeah.
and then after I bought it, I found out about it. Like it's weird. It's like there's like a handful of games that when you turn them on, it's like, can I have access to your social security number, firstborn, and bank account number? It's not like that, but it's like a weird page of like log into this to get to this. It's like very, very weird. And some people say, oh, it's just it trying to, because there's a mobile version and it's just trying to like connect to a crossplay. And I was like, nah, how about you just opt out and let me just play this game? But you can't play the game if you don't opt into that thing. So I don't know. It was very strange and a very annoying experience. And then once I went through all the mess of just getting it to work, and the game ended up locking up anyway.
Yeah.
So he wrote the music for that.
Yeah.
which I don't remember at all.
No, but he's trying to think of some other stuff that he's done. Mostly, he did a lot of done a lot of commercials for like MTV, Volkswagen, AMC, Nike.
Yeah, busy guy.
Yeah, it's all over the place doing whatever he needs to get done, I guess. But because the whole point of this game is its story and its environment, and I don't want to spoil it.
And the loop. So what we can say with mild spoiler loop is that when you continue, when you go back into the game and you beat it the first time, and your title screen will say continue timeline, and you hit continue and you go back into the game, and then you start experiencing additional dialogue things. There's certain things you've done throughout your first playthrough that kick back at you. Like there's like a couple of times when Alex talks into a radio, or talks into like a radio, like a, what do you call that?
Intercom.
It's just a radio thing.
Walkie-talkie.
Yeah, but it projects it out onto the radio signal. So there's a parts throughout the game. It does it really early in the game to let you know things are weird. Is that when you first get your radio in the beginning of the game, you're scrolling through channels and you come across a channel where it's Alex talking. So just the timeline's overlapping, and you can address it. You can address it, but nobody else seems to care. It's like that weird thing. I wish it mattered. I wish it mattered more. But it's just like, oh, you're supposed to be like, oh, it's so weird that I can hear myself. Like as a player, you're supposed to be like enjoying the fact that you can hear things you said before, but the rest of the game doesn't address it. None of the other characters address it. Only Alex is aware. But also, when you're playing through a second time, it doesn't matter that you're re-experiencing things. You learn there's new parts of the dialogue, and there's new parts of the story, and then the entities will say new things and have extended conversations and know who Alex is on your second playthrough. All that stuff is pretty cool, but it has no effect on the outcome of anything.
Not really, no.
Which is kind of sucks. I wish it was like a thing where like you were continuing, like you beat the game and you were continuing, but you weren't. But the game actually wasn't beat until a second or third playthrough. I wish like each time you played, it continued a storyline and you were learning, like which it kind of halfway does, but it doesn't change any of the endings. I wish there was like a multiple playthrough thing where like the game's not, you know what I mean? Like you're not, like it says continue timeline. You're not playing a new game. You're continuing your game.
Yeah.
But from the beginning of the loop and experiencing, which it halfway does, but it doesn't lead to a final ending.
Well, the only way that it does do, and you only gain access to it on your third playthrough.
Oh, great. So now to sound dumb because there is an ending that I didn't get to?
Yeah.
Damn it.
There isn't. It will.
Because my game froze.
God, I don't want to spoil. There's an ending that happens.
That only happens on the third playthrough?
They can only happen on the third playthrough. But it's still, like it ends and it alters the timeline. and it changes certain people's lives, but the end result is everyone still shows back up for different reasons, but on this night to continue the timeline, but as a different way.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil that for anyone because that is kind of cool when that
if
happens.
they ever patch the game where I can, and I googled for the people complaining, nobody's really complaining about. They're talking about when you Google Oxenfree freezing, it's from like 2016. Anyway, I'm gonna keep watching for an additional patch because I will play out the last part at some point. But anyway,
just so you know, you were right. The only thing that added the update was transmissions in the radio frequencies. It's the only thing they added in. So I wonder if you could hear Riley, who's the main character for the sequel, if you would hear her talking or something.
Possibly, which is a cool idea.
Because it says she's just a what do you call it? Environmental researcher. So maybe she's investigating radio waves on wildlife or something like that. And it's, who knows? I don't know.
I'll know when it comes out. At least I know when the second one comes out, if it's got multiple endings, to play them all before they patch it and break it.
Yeah. I was able to get the 1K for this, 3 playthroughs, in 15 and a half hours.
Great. I'm at 15 hours, so but you did 3 only playthroughs. So I did an original playthrough because the TA tracks all this. I did my whole original playthrough, 5 years later, did the original playthrough again, and a whole second run through. The second run through is much faster, and the third one's even faster. They're faster because you could skip collectibles and stuff like that. So I'm at 15 hours, still needing to do. What did I
finish
say?
Your final playthrough.
I'm at 15. I almost exactly 15 hours, and I still need to wrap up my third playthrough. And every like once a month, I keep trying, and once every couple of weeks, I'll try to load my game, and my game loads into a lock. It won't load the next. It's where you ride the
gondola,
the little gondola, like when you ride the gondola over
Skytram, whatever.
You ride the gondola, and it won't load the next map.
So you just go off screen, or you hit the thing, and the screen
it goes off black. So it goes off. The gondola rides off, and it goes to the next map, and you have the noise of the gondola rolling in, but it never rolls in.
Have you just let it play and like walked off and like cooked dinner and come back and see maybe it's really far away or something?
I've deleted and reinstalled the game. I've deleted my save from my console and redid my cloud save. I've because I only need the two achievements aren't related to the timeline, so I needed. So I've started a whole new timeline just to do the third sequence. I've done everything I can, and it freezes in the exact same spot. I think they screwed the game up. They screwed something up in the code somewhere.
That does suck butt. Yeah. That's awful, actually.
I think it'll be addressed at some point because people will be going back when Oxenfree 2 gets a date. People will be going back to the first game and then running into a.
Yeah, they ain't got much of the year left.
It's supposed to be this year.
2022. Everything still says 2022.
Yeah, but anyway, the game is wow. Okay, it's not on sale. This game is only $10, like flat out.
Dang.
Like retails for 10. I wonder if it originally retailed higher, but it's just so old now that because sometimes companies will just lower the overall retail of the game.
Probably because of how well it did however long ago. They're like, hey, let's lower the price and see if more people will buy it, especially with the sequel coming out.
Possibly.
I guarantee that's what was happening.
Yeah. And the game's interesting enough and cool enough. I think it's worth every bit of $10. $10, you get quite a few hours of gameplay out of it, and it's a sort of unique experience with the time loops and stuff like that. You want to experience relatively good voice actors and see if you like the interrupting over and over again.
I did find a question, or the answer to a question we were talking about earlier, about whether it was going to be a film or a TV show. Let's see here. Sean Crankle, which is one of the co-founders, said that the film plans have fallen through due to the complicated Hollywood studio system and due to other things, and also having now been purchased by Netflix. So Netflix is I think one of the things was they wanted to do a bunch of no names. They're like, but that's not how Hollywood works. You got to have a face. You got to have the hot stars or whatever.
So they're doing a Hollywood. So they had Hollywood movie. They were working on a Hollywood movie before they were purchased by Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So So the Hollywood movie's falling through, but Netflix is going to try to do something anyway.
Yeah, Netflix, because Netflix can do their own thing.
Yeah, bigger than Hollywood sometimes.
But Netflix took it on. I think they're gonna. It says roughly the same budget, but now as a TV show.
Yeah.
So they're spread it across and make probably I don't know, give me 6-8 episodes of a TV show that are like
it'd be a better show than a rushed movie.
Yeah, give me I'd say between 6 and 8 episodes, anywhere from half hour to 45-minute apiece.
Mm-hmm. I think 8 45-minute episodes kind of get it covered probably.
Mm-hmm. But I don't really have any more to add. And are you ready to move?
Yeah. The last thing I got, of course, is to tell y'all about a band. Band I haven't listened to much recently because I'm getting to where I'm having to, as I burn through bands that I listen to all the time, I kind of dip into bands I don't listen to as much. I'm scoping through a couple of things. This band is called Periphery. They're a pretty well-known band, actually, probably one of the more well-known bands that I've talked about on here. They're an American progressive metal band from Washington, D.C. They started back in 2005. Progressive metal's a pretty common thing. They're also part of the Gent, which is DJENT, Gent, or otherwise called math metal. It's kind of really, how do you explain Gent? It's kind of they call it. It's like real technical.
What do you call it? I'm only knowing this because I'm looking at the exact definition right now. Mm-hmm. Gent is an extreme musical subgenre characterized by its use of offbeat and complex rhythm patterns inspired by free jazz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very complicated usually. Probably more complicated than I give it credit. When I'm listening to it, I don't really think too heavily about what's happening to worry about it. But they're Periphery's pretty big in the gent world. Them and what's the other band I can't think of off the top of my head? Meshuggah. That's the band.
Meshuggah, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
Meshuggah.
I can give you a couple of them.
He said he's considered. So there's a guy here I'm looking at too. A guy from the guitarist from Meshuggah is considered the originator of the gent technique, which is kind of cool. Other bands, obviously, I know Animals as Leaders. I know and Tesseract are all bands that are all part of it. A couple other stuff. It goes on and on. It's a big old thing. It's a big old, like you said, a really kind of a niche subgenre of rock and metal that you can kind of really dig your teeth into. Periphery's kind of out in the popularity wise, so like kind of in the forefront of it. That's a pretty cool band. I dug too deep into all their library, but there was what I'm picking from is a strange EP that's like right in the middle of their discography. It's like really like right in the middle of all their albums. EP called Clear. They say I read on here. They say that Clear. It's called Clear EP, but they say it's a little long for an EP. The album runs about 30 minutes, which is longer. He said longer than your average EP and maybe shorter than an album. So they said that they're kind of don't exactly consider it an EP. But what Clear is an album where each member of the band is given, like, they do the writing. They write each of the songs. Like each song is like, what do they call it? Like
It says each band composed a track and covered the entirety of the role of creative director.
Creative director. I see creative director
over that single track.
Every single track.
They made every choice for their track.
Which is pretty cool. I feel like a concept. That's what I couldn't think of. It's a concept album, which I've never seen another band do an album like this where it's every track is singly focused on a particular person. I think it's just a really cool album to find in the middle of everything they were doing. I kind of enjoy their sound. Their singer's not always my favorite. They've been through two different singers. I feel like maybe I like the second singer weirdly a little more than the original singer. He's a little less screamy than their current guy, if I'm thinking of the right one. But I'll keep this short because we start talking about music like this in bands, I end up talking in circles. And then, of course, if you listen to our podcast, we were recording before lunch, and you probably can't hear it, but Blake's belly is eating itself. So to wrap this up real quick, I'm going to play a song called Feed the Ground. And this is the song that was creative directed by Matt Halpert, which is the drummer for the band. So this is quote unquote his song. So there's maybe he just wanted to really do some heavy drumming is what it is. But everybody's, there's lyrics. There's a whole production for the whole song. And the song's called Feed the Ground. I think I already said that maybe. It's some pretty heavy stuff, and I like it quite a bit. It's got some pretty good what do you call those the drops where it kind of hit.
I guess it just drop.
It just hits real hard on these certain parts of the song. I think it's a fun song. If you like this song, look up the rest of the band. They have a whole smorgasbord of albums and a long discography here to dig through. I mean, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 albums right now. So you have a whole lot of Periphery to listen to. Also want to note 2 things from them for weird shirts they done. I have a Periphery shirt that I bought because I couldn't pass up on it. It was a Periphery shirt. There's 2. One I bought, one I really want to buy. One that I have is it's Periphery, but it's done in the font of like Final Fantasy. So it's Periphery 3. It's for the 3rd album. It's Periphery 3, but it's done in like the Final Fantasy 3 art and has like the little title art behind. It's them on the instruments and stuff kind of blasted behind it. So it looks like a Final Fantasy shirt, but it's Periphery 3. It looks really cool. I really like that shirt.
That is really awesome.
And then they of course have their I think they're pretty popular. They post about them a lot. I see people posting their Periphery, which is a kitten on the front of a shirt. It says Periphery for the band. They've been selling those on their concerts. I kind of wanted that Periphery shirt. It's just some silly stuff they do. I don't know. It's a fun and interesting band. Somebody I need to dig in. I probably need to dig into more thoroughly and like really just like sit with each individual album a lot more like on its own instead of shuffling everything together. I might just want to sit with a particular album more than anything. So this might trigger me to do that a little bit because they got a lot of stuff to listen to. So, with that said, I'm going to do what I've been meaning to do every podcast that I've been starting to recently is thank people who help make parts of this podcast better, which of course is thanking Jared Jones from Emerge for letting us use Letting Go as our intro track for this podcast. It's probably the best part of the podcast. I understand if you listen to the intro and you're like, all right, I've heard what I wanted to hear, and you dip out for the rest of the podcast. I don't blame you because that intro to the podcast is so very good. So thank you, Jared, for letting us have that. Number 2, of course, is he's the face of the podcast, whether he knows it or not. Is Devious.Pixel. Is all art for our podcast, and he's been doing art for our second podcast as well. He's the face of everything. His art's on our merchandise, so we don't know whether he knows it or not, but we want to thank him for being a big part of our podcast and kind of giving us a look for what how we want things to kind of look. It's kind of a cartoony look, but we're silly cartoony dudes. So
I do love the art.
Yeah, the art's very, very good. And with that, and I'll say it on the end. Come to Twitch with us. It's really cool. I think we're having a real good time playing games with Brian. And then if you listen to if you kind of watch a couple, you're not gonna watch them all, I guess. I mean, we'd like if you come watch us on Twitch. But at the end of completing a game, we're gonna start having like 3 Smoking Controllers podcast episodes where we kind of talk about our experience with Brian of playing the game. So if you had watched it might be interesting to kind of watch some of the streams, and then kind of at the end of completing the game, you'll have a whole episode dedicated to that game with all 3 of us talking. So it'd be cool to come be a part of that. It'd be very interesting and fun. So that's all I got. After Blake finishes, you'll be hearing Feed the Ground from Periphery.
I want to wish everybody a good evening and good night.